Wealth creators like Nyakana were invited by the president to share their experience. Museveni reiterated that through government, and although government is committed to improving infrastructure across the country, livelihood programs will take priority. To the local area, the president made various monetary assistance. President were ministers Frank Tumwebaze, Alice Kaboyo, Tom Butime, among others. Kitagwenda public rally marked the last day of President Yoweri Museveni's wealth creation visit in western Uganda, and now he heads to Luwero. The Vice President.
And good morning to you once again in case you are just joining us. This is Good Morning Uganda, the show, and it is on UBC TV, always here to inspire you. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi, and in today's reel, we are looking at tourism, but especially the people behind and the person behind every beautiful thing that we see with the space of tourism. Now, starting off, the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo is an annual tourism and travel trade show that is organized by the Uganda Tourism Board. Now, each year, the expo brings together tourism value chain players and stakeholders under the B2B, business to business, and B2C, business to consumer formats of networking opportunities as well as business deals. Now, this year, Powate 2025 will be held at the brand new Peak Resort and Convention Center in Munyonyo, Kampala from the 21st of May to 24th May 2025, and it will be the 9th edition of the Powate. Now, let's have a look at the statistics of, and that is the performance of the tourism industry in the recent months alone. In 2024, Uganda's tourism sector saw a remarkable growth, with international tourist arrivals recovering to 89.2% of the pre-pandemic. And tourism receipts reached a record high of 1.28 billion, which is a 25.9% increase compared to the year 2023. Now, with that being said, with that beautifully planned tourism space and added tangible value is a force to reckon behind it, and that is the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, Doreen Katusime. She recently added to her cabin the Nalubale Medal, as she was decorated by the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, on 1st May during the Labour Day celebrations in Karamoja. Now, I got a chance to catch up with her. Just take a look at our discussion. All right, thank you so much for joining UBC TV, here always to inspire you. And one of the ways we inspire you is bringing to you people, citizens of Uganda, who do enough and more than enough to serve their country and showcase their patriotic spirit. Now, recently was the Labour Day celebrations in Nakapiripirit, and many people were awarded. And one of them is here with us, and that is Doreen Katusime, who is the Permanent Secretary for Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. She was honored with a Distinguished Order of the Nile Medal for her excellence in service and outstanding service. At that, outstanding is the key word, but also she plays many roles as the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Tourism. She plays a key role in launching events and initiatives that are related to tourism in Uganda, and she's here to have a conversation with us, what inspires her, what pushes her, how she can inspire you as well. So once again, thank you so much for joining. You watch her story as she tells it. Thank you so much for joining us, Doreen.
Thank you very much, Julie.
Yes, good to have you.
I'm very glad, delighted to be.
Congratulations on your honor.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
How do I feel? I feel validated, because oftentimes the work we do in the public service, often it feels like a thankless job, because in most cases you feel like nobody appreciates what you're doing. So it's gratifying to feel that out there your work is appreciated and it is actually acknowledged.
All right. Let's get to the genesis of all of it. Tell us about yourself.
Well, Doreen Middle name is Silva. That's my maiden name. Katusime. You already know that I'm a PS, so maybe I should tell me a little more about myself.
Yes.
I am a mother of 4 adults. I am a grandmother. I am a wife for the last 40 years. I am a mother-in-law. I have served this government for slightly over 40 years now, since 1984. It has been a journey. The journey always has its ups and downs, but here I am. I have grown through the ranks from the bottom. I actually started as a teacher. I qualified as a teacher in 1983 from university. I taught in a few schools. My last station was City High School. And then I joined I felt like my calling was more in administration. So I joined the administration, and I aligned myself that way, and I have grown through the ranks to the apex of my career.
Right. 40 years is a long time of service.
It is a long time. Most of you were not born.
Indeed. And like you've mentioned that it's not easy to work without recognition. You just work effortlessly, whether you're recognized or not. You don't even know whether you're recognized. But what has kept you going up until this point where you were recognized with a Nile medal?
Well, I think there are several factors. Some factors are personal, others are external. But as I grew up, I was an only daughter with 7 brothers. And my mother was always worried that being an only girl, I was going to get spoiled, and my father was spoiling me, I would not be successful. So throughout my years of growing up, I was driven by that need to prove to her that I would actually succeed. And she always told me, I don't know why, but she always told me that whatever you do, even when you dress up, feel like you are the best. Whatever you do, be best at it. So it comes right from, I think, my upbringing. But I must also say that as I started working, there were other factors. And one of them is that I had good mentors. So I have not done it alone. I had good role models, I would say. When I joined the service, I started in the Ministry of Cooperatives and Marketing. That's what it was called then, 1991. And we had a PS called Mr. Ortega. He's still alive, long retired, but he really made it a point to mentor me. And then I found then who was our Undersecretary, Mr. Lubanga. Have you heard about Mr. Lubanga? Mr. FX Lubanga, he's now retired as well. He mentored me at that level as a senior assistant secretary. I moved on to Ministry of Water, Natural Resources. I came to education as a principal assistant secretary. I found him as PS. He mentored me again, and he always told me, I know where you're heading. You will be a PS one day. So you must behave like this. You must pursue excellence. Whatever you do must be. So it's been both intrinsic but also external.
Right. You have talked about mentorship as something that has been key along your journey, and it's something rare in our generation. Speak into the importance of mentorship, especially to us, the younger generation. Given that Uganda is 75% a young population, that means we're the ones holding the country right now, and we need these skills. So speak into the importance of mentorship.
Mentorship is very key in one's career growth. And I really do hope that I have also mentored people, and they will be able to say that I did this because I was mentored. I'll just give you an example. I had just joined the Ministry of Education, and I was I don't know if you know the ranks of administrative officers, principal at that time. And we had an event where the Vice President, then Honorable Andrea Kazibu, was coming as guest of honor. It was a very big event. Actually, the President was coming, but he delegated the Vice. And my PS said, "You are going to be the MC." And that night I didn't sleep. In the morning I went back to him, I said, "I can't do it." He said, "You're going to do it." And he said, he said, that is called baptism by fire. And I did it.
Interesting.
And after doing it, I got the courage. And after that, it started, being easy.
Right.
So that is part of mentorship. Somebody gives you challenging assignments. He would make us write policy documents, you write cabinet papers. So by the time you become a PS, it's easy. It's even easier for you to supervise the people below you because you know they've been there, you know what they are going through. So mentorship is very important. It's very difficult to really make it without mentors.
Right.
People you look up to that have also made, you admire them, you look up to them, but they mentor you through.
Right. In our generation, we call it the deep end. You learn from the deep end
Uh-huh.
while swimming in the deep end.
Deep
Yes.
end and you swim and
Make it eventually. What are some of those milestones you have achieved along the journey of your career?
Well, several of them, but maybe I start from becoming a PS. Like I've told you, I have gone through the ranks, and it was always my, should I say dream, but I always wanted to get to the apex of my career. In those days, we would do exams at each level, especially from principal to undersecretary, from undersecretary to... So when we were due to become PSCs, the service opened up. Before it used to be for administrative officers, but now the technical teams also became the commissioners, the CAOs. So it was, we sat for interviews, we were 50 of us when we started. From 50, we became 18. From 18, there were only 3 positions for PSCs. So we did the 3 levels of interviews, and I still emerged the best candidate. For me, that was a huge milestone. But then I come to Ministry of Tourism. And I joined at the end of 2016. And like you said, as a PS, you play several roles. I am a PS here, but I also oversee agencies, Uganda Wildlife Authority, Uganda Tourism Board. So we were going through a difficult time. Like everybody felt tourism was not being felt, was not bringing in the numbers. And so we did several changes in the leadership at the agencies. But major milestone for me was from 2017, by 2020, before COVID, we had doubled the revenue that tourism was bringing in.
Right.
No, not the revenue that, I'm not talking about the contribution to GDP, but the revenue that we collect as ministry and these agencies. Because when I came in, we were collecting about between 60 and 70 billion. And by the time COVID hit, we had hit 120 something billion. And by that time, we had also become the highest foreign exchange earner for Uganda, taking over from, before that it was remittances, then I think coffee. Now coffee has overtaken because of the effects of COVID, but I believe we shall still get back. We shall, yeah.
Right, right.
So some of the few, I can talk about several, but over the last few years, our budgets also grew more than triple. Because I came in when our budget for the ministry was below 20 billion. It would be between 2012 and 14. Now we are talking of 40-something billion. And it's the first time that the Ministry of Tourism has work or projects going on in all the regions of Uganda. And projects that are in billions of shillings that we are. You go to the source of the Nile, you find we are working. You'll go to Dokolo in northern Uganda, you'll find work going. You go to the Rwenzori, you'll find work is going on. I don't know if you have been to our school in Jinja or our school in Kasese, but a lot of work is going on. And that for me, very gratifying.
Right. Along these moments of achieving, growing, and impact, is there a moment where you felt the impact and realized the impact of every project and mission you've landed?
Yes, several times. But the major one is when we pushed and tourism development program became a standalone program in the NDP3. Because when I joined, the ministry used to be, you remember that time were sectors, and it was tourism, trade, and industry. We pushed and it became tourism sector, but now when we started the program approach to budgeting and planning, we were able to be recognized as a priority sector, a primary growth sector. So tourism now is a standalone program. So we bring together all the other agencies and ministries that contribute to our outputs, like immigration, like works, because of infrastructure. But we are a program, a standalone program. So I lead this program. For us, that was a major breakthrough, but we didn't stop there. You may know that today, government is pursuing the tenfold growth strategy, so that by 2040, we should have grown tenfold. Now, tourism is among the four priority sectors. We call them ATMs. Agro-industrialization, tourism is number 2, minerals, including oil and gas, and then science and technology. It had never happened. We are going back maybe to when I was growing up in the 60s. I'm sure you hear President Museveni talking about it. It used to be the 3 C's and the 3 T's. Yeah, coffee, copper, cotton, tobacco, tourism, and tea. Then tourism sort of was, I think government always felt, maybe because we were recovering from a lot of things, so the priority was, let's do the infrastructure, let's do the roads, let's do the power, tourism will grow. But now we have brought it to the forefront.
Right. When, as you were looking towards 1st May and the celebrations of 1st May, the moment you learned that you were going to receive the Nile Order Medal, how did you feel in that moment from the first listen of the notification?
Well, I don't know. I was not excited.
Why?
But I don't know why. It's a very strange feeling. And I didn't get to know actually until I think that week, just before the ceremony. I had received my card to. Then later I was told by Uganda Wildlife Authority that I had been nominated. I think when you're nominated, whoever nominates you waits to see whether that nomination is actually approved, because the committee, the Chancery must sit and review the nomination and do some background checks. So I was told that I had been nominated and the committee had approved. But I was actually told that I was nominated for the medal, not the one that I got. It was something a little lower. I was told that I had been nominated and for the medal called the Order of the Crested Crane, which is still quite high. Then a few days the event, I was told that now it seems the committee looked at my profile and actually awarded me something higher. That was, I don't know why I was not excited, but I was a bit anxious actually.
I mean, looking at
it was more
the 40 years of service, wasn't there that feeling of finally someone recognizes my
Now that came at the event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I got the news, I didn't feel that way. But now at the event, standing there and, you know, seeing this whole crowd and knowing the whole of Uganda is watching and the president himself is there to decorate me, I felt, oh, finally, my work has been recognized and achieved. It was, I would say, very gratifying. It's some sense of satisfaction. Yeah.
Right. What does this mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, personally, like I said, it's gratifying to know that my work is recognized, it's appreciated, but it also gives me the impetus, the zeal to say, I've done 40 years. If I have to do another 3 years, I must maintain, I must. You know, in my language, there's a saying, but I can say it in English. It's like you go to fetch water, and when you're just entering the house, the pot breaks. Those days, they used to fetch water in the... So I wouldn't want anything to taint this image. So it's gratifying, but also it's kind of challenging to say, well, this is now, you are known as a medalist, as somebody that has achieved excellence, that has been outstanding. But in addition to that, professionally, it gives me the challenge to inspire the people I work with, even the communities, to say, your work, you may think that you're just working and nobody notices, but out there people recognize, people appreciate. If you're not doing a good job, of course, they will also notice. So it gives me that challenge to want to inspire the people that I work with to say, you can do it, you can make it.
Right.
Yeah.
What principles and values have you held that are personal to you but have led you to this achievement along the journey of your career?
Several principles. First of all, I should say that I am a Christian. I believe in God. And there is a verse that is like what is at the heart of everything that I do. If you read the Bible, you can go back and read it. It's Colossians chapter 3, verse 23.
Right.
And it says, whatever you do it with your heart, all your heart, knowing that you're doing it for God and not for the human masters. That has been like my guiding principle, because sometimes you do and you do what you think is a good job. And maybe it's not appreciated, and maybe it is not as good as you think, but when you know that you're doing it with your heart and you mean well, then you don't get distracted by either criticism or lack of appreciation. But in addition to that, coming back to the principles, I would say two principles. One is integrity. I believe in doing the right thing, whether I am being watched or not, and being true. If I say I can't do this, if I'm not able, I will say I can't do it. I will not do it. If you come and ask me, if I'm able to do it, I will do it, and I will try. So I believe in reliability and being honest.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, there are many people who are watching and are looking forward to having heavy impact on their communities as leaders, as citizens of Uganda. What would be your message to someone who has a zeal to impact their nation, their community, to impact as leaders?
Well, I would say two things, and one is related to what you had just asked me. One must, first of all, know what it is that you want to be in life. What do you want to achieve? What are your goals? And then pursue them. Because sometimes we are not even very sure. I was telling that I started as a teacher, and I loved teaching. But after some time, I felt like maybe that's not my calling.
Right.
So when I decided now to go into administration, I had to catch up with the other people who were already ahead of me. I had to do all these courses in public administration. I had to do the law course. I had to catch up. So I tell the people that I work with normally that, one, you must know what you want, but be passionate about it. You can't afford to be, half-hearted, mediocre. You must, if you want to achieve something, then keep improving yourself. Always want to know more. Be curious. Want to learn from others, but most importantly, allow feedback. Many times we have a problem of, even when it's positive feedback, we feel like, oh, this person is not to be. But if you don't get feedback and accept it and take it positively, you can't grow. So I think for me, those are the two messages. Know what you want, go for it, improve yourself, but allow feedback.
Right. Thank you very much, Doreen.
You're most welcome.
It's been such a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Wow, thank you.
As we inspire Uganda here on UBC TV.
Thank you.
Takeaways for me personally: improve yourself, value addition, mentorship has stood out for me, and integrity is one of the other things that have stood out for me, but also accept feedback and ride by it.
Amen.
Thank you so much for being on the show and for watching UBC Uganda, here to inspire you. Well, that is the conversation that I had the opportunity to have with Doreen Katasime. What has stood out for you? Many things stood out for me. A lot I learned from her on that day. But what have you learned? Do share your lessons on 0709602592. Will be nice for us to read them and know how impacted you have been. But that's it from her. And one thing that stood out for me majorly is something that she holds on to. And that is the scripture in Colossians 3:23, that whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. With that being said, let me remind you that Coate 2025, which shall be the 9th edition, will be on the 21st, starting on the 21st of May, all the way to the 24th of May. It will be at the brand new Speak Resort and Convention Center in Munyonyo, Kampala. So be sure to be a part of it. It shall also be brought to you live here on UBC TV. For now, Good Morning Uganda does continue. We do have business, we do have tourism, we do have the agenda. So a lot still in stock for you. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the Front Bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure?
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji. Your interface with the government, Jethro Kasaiji. Your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
We are coming to the climax of the vintage world. Thank you for being part of the journey. I bet you still want to even watch more of this, but we'll give you a homework of coming and visiting. Bring yourself and get to see what they have here. With me is a TV. I can call it a TV with just the smallest screen, as small as this watch screen. But we are going to be now exploring the world of TVs, how they go to evolve in sizes. I bet what you are watching from is way different from these. Even getting to see what's in the background, there's just different versions of them. And we are still with Mr. Emmanuel, who is going to tell us how these worked and how they go to evolve along the way. Welcome on the Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. My name is Zakia Lucky. Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, we are excited to have you again on the show. And regards to TV, we would like to know if you had one probably that inspired you to start storing these ones right from the smallest.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you, viewers, for being with us from where we started till now. TV is very interesting because I'm sure everybody who grew up in the 80s and 90s has a story about what TV did to them. But like you said, even me, I was surprised when I found a TV that has an 1-inch screen as big as your smartphone, I mean smartwatch.
Yeah.
But this is a portable device that uses 8 batteries, dry cells.
Okay.
And you would actually load them in there and connect it onto a system, and you're able to watch news or while you're on safari. So you never missed out on a few things. But I think the innovators wanted to see how you can move, but also continue connected on such systems. Because the first television sets that we had were also fixed like the phones we did. They were fixed inside the house and such kind of thing. But they innovated and said, how do we have people enjoy entertainment on the move? Whereas this is 1 inch, this is another 4-inch TV. Very basic, like you can see, I like the buttons. The sound they make while you're tuning it. It's as if you're switching on something. And the on and off, everything was so nice the way it was designed. The engineering here was so superb. But this still is a mobile TV set, which dates back into the 70s, black and white. Whereas this is black and white, actually this is a colored television set. So you would see a picture, a colored picture of this kind of small TV. Interesting. The other thing that we have an assortment of TVs in the background. We have those that date back into the 70s and 80s. But one of the stories I remember, you asked me whether we had TV in our home. No, we didn't have one. We had to walk distances. My first time to watch TV, we had to walk a distance of over 12 kilometers from the home where I stayed. For those who are well versed with our villages, I walked. My father drove us from Mitiana and went to our uncles in Kachindu, miles away. And remember that time in the 80s, TV was only it was telecast in particular times. You didn't have the luxury of watching TV from morning to evening or even overnight. It was only between specific periods of time. So we had to, after lunch, it was on a Sunday, after lunch we had to drive, go to our uncle's place, sat down on a mat obviously, and then were able to see those people behind a gadget doing their thing. Curiosity, killed a rat. So I wanted to know who was behind there in that big box doing all the games. But unfortunately, because of time, we had to drive back home, so I didn't have the opportunity to go behind and check and see, because I thought behind there was someone who was seated inside that box and they were addressing us. Very interesting. But when you discuss with our peers, they will tell you for them, they had to first, for you to watch TV, you had to first shower.
Okay.
TV, those were the words. Then you see everybody dashing to the bathroom, and then you come wait, sit on the mat and wait to see this person behind this television. So television growing up was a very interesting thing. But I like the people around this generation, because nearly every household has a smart TV somewhere, or a TV of sorts. And the other interesting bit about those big TVs that have bumps, sometimes in the middle of watching something, the TV would go off. So you'd see your parent going behind and tapping it. And after tapping it like this, you see the pictures coming back. Very interesting. I don't know what kind of magic they had in their hands, but the tap usually did something to bring back a picture that you are watching. Very interesting story.
I think I have experienced that one. I have hit a TV back. Yes. So how did this operate? Did you have to put, I don't know, a CD somewhere, but then it's too tiny for a CD? There was no memory card, I bet, to put in here. How were they able to watch?
Now, you will notice that these were analog TVs. That you had, first of all, today we have satellite dishes connected because we are receiving a signal from a satellite somewhere. Now, back then, there were analog masts that you used to relay information. So you had to put a very long aerial outside your house to tap it into the behind so that you can receive that kind of signal. And the interesting bit about it, so that you will have to be two people, one inside and the other one outside, so that they can help you turn the aerial to a position where you would be able to receive a clear signal. I don't know whether you remember that around Mbiko, as you're going to Jinja, every household had a very long area like this. Why? Because they are like lying low in terms of altitude, so they couldn't receive a signal. That's why every household had to receive that. But these TVs were also good in a way that these were portable, so you also carry it, but there were those bigger ones like the one you see that were seated in a sitting room. Now, in order for you to get entertainment outside what is telecast by the then UBC, you had to have a video deck. So that video deck had movies recorded on or other programs pre-recorded, and then you push it into a deck, press a button, and then you'll be able to watch your favorite movie or program or something like that. Yes.
And what were these buttons for?
These were the different buttons. For example, there was the UHF kind of channel and the VHF.
Okay.
So you would like, as you're tuning, turn them like this. You keep on tuning. Then when you see the picture is clear, then that's where you would stop. There were different channels. There was channel 10, channel 20, channel what, and then those are the channels within which you would locate the button, and then you're able to like tune it to get a clearer picture. I remember the satellite in Mpoma did a lot of things. There was Butevo, where people would receive signal from Butevo, even in Mwizi in western Uganda and then there's another one in Arua. So there were different stations, base stations, that would relay pictures to people who had the luxury to have TVs in the old days. Yeah.
Wow, that's been interesting. If only they could take us back in the days. You talked about watching a TV, you had to first shower. That was quite a very good, experience and also motivation for the young ones to shower. Well, it's been quite a very good journey taking us to the vintage world. I bet we have learned so much about it. Feel free to share what you think about this in the comment section on our social media platforms. You can check out on UBC and also get to visit Brim's Heritage Research Center, get to meet Mr. Emmanuel to give you all this information and you get to see for yourself. Please give your closing remarks to the viewers.
Thank you very much. I want to thank UBC TV for this opportunity. Because if probably you didn't come, the population out there wouldn't know the kind of heritage we are preserving. I also want to appeal to the population to not just waste everything. Everything is not waste. There is value in what you call waste. And for those who have such items and they think they no longer want to use them, feel free to donate them to us so that we can preserve them and make good use of them. Because we know that your great-grandchildren will come to learn about these items, and probably if we didn't preserve them, then they wouldn't have something to learn from. For more information, you can always contact us on our socials at Brim's Heritage on all social media. Thank you.
Yes, don't waste those items. You can donate them, bring them through so that they are stored. The coming generations will also have a chance, just like us today, to see what used to happen. It's been a very interesting topic. Again, vintage. Stick with us. It's been Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express.
Well, good morning, Uganda. Welcome back from JMU Tourism Express. And starting off right away with JMU Business is the exciting news of Uganda Airlines that launched the first direct flight to London Gatwick, which government officials say will unlock new opportunities in trade, tourism, and investment between the two countries. The maiden flight UR 110 pushed back at 10:25 a.m. aboard the state-of-the-art Airbus A330-800 Neo. At 6,464 kilometers, this becomes the airline's longest route. The service will operate 4 times a week, that is on Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. London becomes destination number 17 at the longest leg of Uganda Airlines route map. And the airline CEO Jennifer Bamturachi says that the move marks a transition from startup footing to full growth mode, with additional intra-African spokes planned to funnel passengers and cargo into the new long-haul artery. Now, arrival weights at Gatwick have been calibrated to feed early morning transatlantic and European departures, while inbound timing slots neatly into Uganda Airlines 14-city African network for seamless onward travel across East, Central, and West Africa. Officials say that the route provides a direct, low-risk pipeline for Uganda's high-value exports, and Britain drinks more than 19 million cups of coffee each day, yet Uganda captures just 1% of that market. Permanent Secretary to the Treasury, Ramadan Gobi, added that improved air connectivity like this could be instrumental in steering the national economy towards the ambitious $500 billion target in the coming years. Despite this being the longest leg in Uganda Airlines' growing route map, the carrier has taken a bold step towards sustainability, opting for cleaner aviation fuel to support global net zero goals and a greener planet. Both Uganda Airlines and the Civil Aviation Authorities of Uganda and the UK have credited months of technical coordination and regulatory alignment for today's successful launch. Now, moving on to Karamoja sub-region, leaders there have appealed to Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries to support the tractor hire scheme in the sub-region. They also want a fuel tank, mobile workshop and additional tractors for the smooth running of the scheme. The scheme aims at boosting food production in Karamoja sub-region. Nabila Tuk chairperson Paul Lokol called for public-private partnership to improve the scheme. And in April 2023, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries launched the Karamoja Tractor Hire Scheme in Nabila Tuk district to improve agricultural mechanization and increase productivity, eradicate hunger, malnutrition and insecurity. 16 tractors were delivered for the hire scheme, which is coordinated by Nabwin Zonal Agriculture Research Development Institute. The tractors would be rotated within the 9 districts of Karamoja. So far, the fewer tractors can't meet farmers' demand, and leaders say that Ministry of Agriculture is responsible for the scheme underperformance. Nabwin Zonal Agriculture Research and Development Institute Dr. Walter Odong has denied the allegations of the scheme benefiting only rich farmers. And Nabila Tuk District Chairperson Paul Lokol calls for public-private partnership for efficiency of the scheme. Some farmers are relying on elementary tools like hoes for survival since the oxen were raided during insecurity. Meanwhile, farmers in Karamoja normally rely on tractors from Kenya, but this time they have also found hardship with Uganda Revenue Authority. Leaders want government to provide 10 tractors per district for farmers to open up land. Karamoja sub-region has a single planting season which begins from April, and if farmers do not plant in time, drought affects the harvest. Now moving on, large-scale farmers are embracing organic farming as a way of addressing agrochemical misuse. Deos Nwagaba, a coffee farmer in Namayumba Town Council in Wakiso District, is practicing organic farming on his 10-acre coffee farm. There is growing concern over the misuse of agrochemicals that are not friendly to the environment and human health. Large-scale farmers are now embracing organic farming as a way of addressing agrochemical misuse, but also to preserve biodiversity. Deos Nwagaba, practicing coffee farming on the 10-acre farm in Namayumba Town Council in Wakiso District, has embraced the use of organic agri-inputs, an initiative he says is the reorientation of the farming system to restore soil health and biodiversity. The organic farming for coffee farmers is facilitated by the National Union of Coffee Agribusiness and Farm Enterprises, and working with partners like VAMMIPRO, manufacturers and distributors like Makonde Organic Uganda Limited. Organic farm inputs are availed to the farmers. However, farmers need more awareness on the application of organic farming systems. Nwagaba has integrated organic farming with a solar-powered irrigation system as an adaptive climate change mechanism, and government has also been commended for supporting the production of organic farm inputs. Well, now let's move on to what is on the forex rates, with the forex rates as of 16th May 2025. And at the time of opening, the dollar was buying at 3,645.55 and selling at 3,655.55. By midday, it was buying at 3,649.68, increased value there, and selling at 3,659.68. And it closed in at 3,650.91 and selling at 3,660.91. That is how good the dollar was performing as of end of last week. But the British pound was buying at 4,864.83 and selling at 4,878.16, and the euro was at 4,092.30 and selling at 4,103.51. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.24 and selling at 28.32. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.35 and selling a little higher this time around at 1.36. The South African rand, having increased its value over the last week, was buying at 202.81 and selling at 203.36. Well, that's it from GMU Business. Up next is the agenda, where we engage in a topical discussion, one that you have to be a part of with an expert. And this time round, we are looking at peace and unity for Africa. 0709-602-592 is the number that you should save so that you are a part of the conversation. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every